So today's April 4th, 2024. This is Chille Castro. I'm a journalist giving a report today, and I'm going to report my thoughts and my feelings from the Clark County Detention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hello, friends and family, and anybody who listens to my report. I wake up every single morning realizing that I'm an innocent man in a jail, and that it has to be changed. I believe that every single state constitution should have a statement of fact, a statement of the state constitution that says that if there is no victim, if there is no damages, if there is no assault, then you should not be in jail. You should not ever have to serve a jail sentence or be put into a jail if there's no victim of a crime and there's no restitution due. And so I am here today because of my poor behavior in court, so please do not mimic what I did. Be better than me. And now we got to go past that, and we have to take a look at every single state constitution from Alaska to Hawaii, from Florida to Maine, from Washington to California, and every state in between in the Midwest. Every single state constitution should be added. You cannot serve time in a jail if there's no victim, period. And that trickles down into the way the state is just completely ripping us off through parking tickets. If you get a parking ticket, if you don't pay it within a certain time, it doubles. Why is that? How come that is? We already have the driver's license and registration scam from the 1915 case Hendricks versus Maryland that says you have to pay a fee to have a registration and a fee to have a driver's license. It's almost like property tax. You never own your own home, because even if you pay it off and pay your mortgage off, if you don't pay the state tax, well, then the state will take your house. It's the exact same thing with the registration and license scam. Well, they do the same thing now with parking tickets. If you get a parking ticket and you don't pay it, it doubles, it triples, it quadruples. Well, I thought, though, that you had to get your license renewed every year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it is. How come if you get in Los Angeles, they're extraordinarily expensive. They're $69, sometimes $79 or $89, depending on where you've parked in Los Angeles. So then if you don't pay that parking ticket within 14 days, then it doubles. Now your parking ticket went from $70 to $140. And then if you don't pay it again in time, there's another fee applied to it. Why is that? If you know that if the state knows and you know that you're going to have to get your driver's license renewed in 2 or 3 years, or however long it is, then why can't it just attach to your driver's license that $69 ticket? Do you see what I'm saying to you? The state has become a monster of raping us and overcharging us. And so in this room that I'm in, this giant room, and as you guys know, I cannot give any layout of this place. I can't tell you anything other than I'm in a dorm with 50 to 70 other men, depending on which dorm I'm in. And there's lots of dorms. It's a great big huge building. This is not anything you can't see from the street or anything anybody else wouldn't know. But each one of these beds that I'm in, a steel bed with a tiny little thin, what they call a mattress, each person laying in the bed next to me is $700 a day from the statistics that I was given. I don't know if that's true or not. Of course, that's incarcerated person's information shared from one ear to the other. But you guys can look it up. What does it cost to house somebody in the Clark County Detention Center? So I'm being housed here. Let's say it's $500 a day. For what? For why am I being housed here? Who's the victim of my crime? Who have I hurt? Who is damaged? What person is weeping in the street that I've wronged them? What person is weeping in the street that I've taken their property or damaged their loved one or them? There is none. There's not a single person right now crying in the street that I hurt them. We heard a cop go on a stand and say that he didn't feel safe. Once again, what does it go back to? Terry versus Ohio. That if a cop doesn't feel safe, well, then that's everything. That's the whole thing. It's not based on our rights. It's based on the cop's feelings. Every single morning, I open my eyes, and the same thought shoots through my mind like a lightning bolt. I'm an innocent man, incarcerated in a dungeon-like system that has policies, procedures, and protocols that if you do not follow them, first, you could get sent to the hole, but very first, you'll be locked down to that bunk for 24 hours. You have to stay in that bunk for 24 hours, and if you violate that, if you have to go pee and the guard doesn't see you and you get up to go pee, you go to the hole for at least 3 to 5 days, which I've written extensively now about the hole and how absolutely horrible it is, how absolutely horrible the hole is. It's atrocious. It puts fear in your heart. It puts fear in your chest. It puts fear in your soul that they're going to lock you in this tiny room and lock you in for 23 hours a day. But it just goes back to the simple fact. The state has become a monster against the people, and every single state constitution must be ratified. If there's no victim, then you cannot be put in jail, period. And it has to happen. It absolutely has to happen, because it could be you. You know, I know there's people who relish in the idea that I'm in a dungeon right now. There's people who are happy that I'm locked away. You know, there's going to be sickos in the world no matter what. Until it happens to that sicko, what does James Freeman say? Back the blue until it happens to you. And that saying that he created has gone viral, and now everybody says it, back the blue until it happens to you. The person I can accredit that to is James Freeman. He's the first person I ever heard say it. It's true. So all the people who are relishing in the idea that I'm in a dungeon, wait until it happens to you or your son or your brother or your mother. Wait till it happens to your lover, and they're in a dungeon and there's no victim of any crime. They didn't pay their child support, or they didn't make it to a court date. They locked people up. They went to a guy's house here. His name is first name Eric. We'll call him Eric. That way I'm not giving away anybody's information. Eric. He was working on his construction site. He has a child he pays child support for. He's up to date on his child support payments. He makes them actually weekly. He has weekly child support payments. His kid is 13. He's been paying child support for 13 years every single week. Well, he missed the court date when they just were going through and renewing, updating, status checking his child support. Well, he missed that court date. So he was at his construction site, and they went to his construction site and arrested him from the construction site where he was working, and he's the supervisor, he's the foreman, he's the foremost supervisor in his field, and they arrested him from the site. So just do the money transfer here. You have an employer who's paying an employee. The employee is making money. The state then sends state money employees. They have a dollar sign on them. They go to the work site. They take the guy who's making money and put him in the Clark County Detention Center, who then that site is making money. They're making money. You see? So you took the money from the employer, you took the money from the employee, and you put it inside of the Clark County Detention Center. Do you understand? Do you see what I'm saying? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They sent police to that guy's work where he was the foremost supervisor on the job that he does, arrested him in front of all his employees because he didn't go to a court date, because he believed that since he was up on his child support payments and had kept up, even added more where he did special things for his kids, paid for additional schooling and stuff like that. He thought, well, I'm all caught up to date. I don't have to go to this court hearing because it's already up to date. Court hearings for child support are based on you're not paying your child support, but he was. So here's the kicker of it. He didn't go to the child support hearing, and neither did his ex. And his ex didn't go, but she wasn't arrested, but he was. Why is that? Because men and women earn different amounts of money. Men work longer hours and work in harder jobs, so they make more money. So that means that they knew that if they arrested him, he would have the money to bail out of jail, and he did. He bailed out of jail. I only knew Eric for 10 hours when I was down in the holding cell. And then why is it, if you're arrested for a misdemeanor, why do you have to be treated like you're Charlie Manson? Why do you have to be chained and shackled? And why do you have to sleep in a metal bed? And why do you get a fork, a plastic fork? Or when you're in the hole, you just get a cardboard spoon that you fold up. It's like taking a piece of paper and making a U out of it. Imagine taking a piece of cardboard and bending the edges so you made a U shape, and then the tip of it sticks out, and that's what you have to eat out of in the hole. This little wooden piece of, I don't know what it is. But why do people who are convicted of misdemeanors, why do they have to be treated in this manner? Why is this the process? I can tell you why. Because we are the cash cow cattle for the state. Each and every one of us has a dollar sign on our backs, and this says $700 a day. And that's what you are, and you just have to go through the system. The good news that I've learned, not in every single state, but in this one, the guards have to follow a very rigid set of policies, procedures, and protocols to make sure that the cattle, the cash cattle, get through properly. So they don't beat on us, they don't kick us, they don't punch us, they don't kick us. So that doesn't happen here, which is, the guards are listening to my phone call. Thanks for not beating me up. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't kick my teeth out. But as you guys know, I just got 3 implants put into my gums, and if I'm in here for 6 months, all the implants will be destroyed. My gums may be destroyed. So I'm sorry I just get on here and I rant and I rave and I just say things, but it's just true. It's just true, and it's the things I'm saying are 100% truthful, and they're raw. I'm not. It took me, when I got out of the hole on Monday night after being locked in there for 5 days, the first couple conversations I had, the first appearance you guys saw me was in court. And when they took me out of the hole and I got freedom for a moment, I got a breath of light, man, the emotions overwhelmed me because I had not broken in 5 days. Hadn't screamed, hadn't yelled, hadn't kicked, and all of this was boiling inside of me. So you guys saw me in court just a mess because I was realizing I was going right back to that hole again, and no matter what I said, it didn't matter. I knew the judge was going to put me back in the hole. And then I got out that night. They actually let me out 2 days early because I guess there was too many people going into solitary confinement or into the hole punishment. And it took a day for my brain to work normal again because you don't get a book, you don't get a newspaper, you don't get any form of stimulus at all whatsoever. You just have to sit in a room for 23 hours a day. And I probably mentioned this 10 times, but I'm going to change this. When I get out, I'm going straight to Reno, in front of the Capitol building. I'm going to give a speech every single day. We have to stop 23-hour lockdowns, especially for people who commit misdemeanors. I'm not stupid. There are criminally insane people who, the moment you turn your back on them, they'll attack you because their brains are freaking melted. But that's how many? 3%? 4% of people? Maybe, if that. And I'm talking about the people who are incarcerated. I'm not talking about people on the streets, even less. But here, what is it? 2%? 3%? And then when they arrested me from here for live streaming a phone call, they put me in cuffs, arrested me just like they were the cops. And they took me down to this hole, and then they made me turn around and spread my butt cheeks and look up my butt. I made a live stream phone call. You didn't catch me smuggling drugs. I don't do drugs. I don't do any drugs. I don't even drink caffeine. The big thing in here is coffee. I don't drink it. I'm not going to raise my blood pressure. My blood pressure is already up. So why do they need to look up your ass? Why is that a thing? I live streamed a phone call. Okay, it's not necessarily in the rule book, but I understand I can't do it, so I'm not going to live stream a phone call again. I understand the rule that they have, that they don't really tell you they have, but apparently no third-party calls equals no live streaming. Okay, fine. But why do you got to bend me over in front of 4 dudes? Why do you have to demoralize me that way? How come that's a thing? Why is that happening to people? Because you have to be demoralized so that you'll fall in line and that you'll do as you're told. And they want to scare the shit out of you. They want you to be afraid of going to the hole. That's what they want. They want you to be afraid of going to that hole. And I'm sorry, whether I like it or not, it's scary. It's scary. Because I told you about the wacky hour. I hope that the editor got that cut together well, so you guys can understand the story of what it's like to go put in that hole, and the wacky hours from 8 p.m. till 2 a.m., where there's 6 hours at least of people screaming and crying and losing their minds. You don't understand. You don't know fear until you experience that. It's like literally a haunted house. You remember when you were a kid on Halloween and they would play the record? That's how old I am. We had a record of Halloween sounds when I was a kid. And it would be, woo, and there would be, ha, 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 right? That's exactly what the hole is, only it's real. There's someone 2 cells down who's kicking their door and screaming, let me out, let me out. And what are you going to do from there? They're already in the hole. You can't do anything else. It made me think, if there's a fire, in this building, I'm dead. They're not going to let us out of the hole. They've deemed us the worst of worst people in humanity. We're in the hole. If there's a fire, they're not letting me out of there. I'm just going to burn alive. And I think about that every day. If this place goes up in flames, are they going to get us out? I mean, they have a very rigid set of policies, procedures, and protocols here. But if there's a real if there's an electrical problem here and boom, all of a sudden part of this place goes up, am I going to die? Are they going to leave me in this room as it fills with smoke because they're afraid to open the doors because they've deemed us horrible? It has to be changed. This system has got to be changed. Why can't we use old apartment complex, put a fence around it, put a strap around your wrist that has an FDIC chip in it? I'm sorry, FDIC is a banking thing. That has a tracking chip in it, right? Why can't we just put a great big chain link fence around an apartment complex? And there you go. You might be in bunk beds in each room, but there's a plate, a knife, a fork, a dishwasher, there's cable TV, there's a phone. You can use your phone. Your loved ones can come and visit you. Believe me, not being able to leave, if you're in a misdemeanor situation, it's flunty. It is flunty. I can't live stream to my people. I can't talk to my people. I can't use social media. There's all these things that are punishment. We already microchip ourselves with our phones. You don't need to put a microchip on us. You don't even need to put that band around your wrist that has a tracking device in it. You give them a cell phone, they're not going to get rid of it. They're going to take it with them everywhere. That's their outlet to the outside world. The only people you'd have to limit are people who've done like scams of embezzlement or banking or who have committed terroristic threats to other people. But even then, give them the phone. See if they're a freaking psycho. You're going to text that same person you terrorized? Perfect. Now we have a record of it. We realize that you actually are criminally insane. You're actually a nutball. You really are crazy. You've lost your mind. And now we can look at psychiatric help for you, and we can try to fix the problem that you are instead of just putting you in a dank hole where you're not going to learn. You're not going to become better. We have chipped ourselves with these smartphones, especially if you're locked into an apartment complex. Imagine there's an apartment complex with 3,000 units in it, and each unit can house 6 or 8 people because you're just stacking them up. They got how many people in here? So each apartment can hold 6 or 8 people. And there's 3,000 units. There's 25,000 people there you could house and give each one of them a smartphone. You get all their phone numbers. They just don't get access to social media. They don't get access to things that they want to have access to. But you get access to your banking account. You get access to your business account. You get access to your website. You can continue to do business because then you're not stealing all the money from the people and giving it to the state. It could be fixed. People do not need to be treated this way. I don't need to go lay on my bunk when I'm told to. It's just preposterous. And then put cameras everywhere. Put cameras everywhere through that apartment complex. And now if you're one of those people who's going to be like a gang member, you're going to get into fist fights and stuff, there's another level for you that doesn't have plates and knives. There's another level for you, bro. You're going to have to go to that next level. Because if you can't stop yourself from getting into fist fights when you're put into a locked-in apartment complex with a chain link fence around it, you could run right out. There's a guard there. He's going to see you run. You're not getting away today. You're not getting away. How many people are running around who are misdemeanor, who are convicted of misdemeanors, running around shooting people? That just is a fallacy. It's just a lie. But this is the employment situation in Nevada. The number 2 employer in the state of Nevada is prisons and jails. Casinos are number 1, and then prisons and jails. So you're taking the money from employers and people, and you're giving it to the state, to the prisons and the jails. That's what's happening, and that's what I'm experiencing here. There's a great big dollar sign on my back, and I'm an innocent man forced to be inside of a dungeon. That's my report for today, April 4th, 2024. Anybody who hears this, thank you for listening. I love you all. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later, gators.